Alright everyone, it's Sam here. Welcome to a preview of the 2015 F1 season. This is the first time I've kind of done a video like this where I've been actually previewing an actual race season, but I kind of want to get into doing it a lot more. I've been toying with the idea for a while. I'm thinking of doing it for MotoGP as well over the course of 2015, so yeah, hopefully this will go well, and yeah, I'll keep doing it, and also reviews of course as well as the previews. And yeah, let's get into this one then. Now this is going to be more based on sort of my own predictions for how the season's going to go, rather than a general preview. It's going to be focused mainly just on how I think it's going to go in the Constructors is what I'm going to go for this. I think the Drivers' Championship is a bit too vague to try and be making predictions on, but I'm going to predict what I think the top 10 is going to be basically in the Constructors, of course out of the 10 teams that there are. So yeah, let's get straight into this. Now, number 10, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anyone who I'm thinking is going to be 10th place in the Championship this season, and that is Mana. And yeah, I'm just hoping that they can get through the season. Of course they didn't really last season technically, and they've done a really good job over the winter, I have to say. I did have my doubts, and I did wonder if there really was any point in them even trying, because like they just seem to be struggling so much for money, and they're just going to be so far off the pace that I just thought there was no point. But credit to them, they've managed to get a car together. It's passed the FIA tests, and they've managed to get to Melbourne then with their two drivers, and yeah, I hope it does go well for them. I mean, I'm not expecting it to, if I'm honest, but yeah, I'm hoping that they can, you know, make something of this season, like get back on their feet, because things obviously all just went wrong for them in 2014 with obviously with Jules' accident, and then just after Sochi they just ran out of money. Well, went to administration, and yeah, it would be really nice to see them like back on their feet this season. It will be a tough one, no doubt, but if they can just keep it within 107% and get some good mileage on the car, then just maybe they can pull off the Great Escape. But yeah, I'm expecting them to be right at the bottom of the standings, probably no points for them. But yeah, 9th place then I'm going to say Sauber, and despite them having what many would say was a decent pre-season, I guess, but obviously I don't think they're going to do any better than they did last season. Well, actually they would be doing better, wouldn't they, because they were only 10th last season. Yeah, I just had to remind myself of that then, but yeah, they're only 10th last season. It was a dismal season, but I think this season they are going to go one better and get back ahead of Marussia. I mean, they were ahead of Marussia anyway technically, but it's just because of Bianchi's point stat, it may look like they dropped behind Marussia. I mean, of course anyone who watched would know that, but yeah, I think, as I said, I think they're going to be 9th. I think they're not going to be any better, like pace-wise, than they were last season. I think the team's just a state, if I'm honest. I did used to quite like them. I've posted a couple of tweets about it on Tuesday night, which is it should be Thursday when this is going up. So yeah, not last night. Well, it is last night as I'm recording it, but never mind. But yeah, I was posting some tweets about, like, you know, they used to be quite a good team. I used to kind of quite like them. They were like sort of like, I don't want to say a backup team or like a second team I supported, because I don't really support anyone other than Ferrari, but I just had a soft spot for the team. But yeah, no, they just seem to be a bit of an embarrassment nowadays, this whole situation with Van der Garde, and also the situation with Sutil as well, which hasn't really transpired into anything that I know of. But yeah, it's just a really bad situation going on at Sauber, and yeah, just on and off the track I think they're just gonna struggle. And Felipe Nasr, a lot of people talking about him. I mean, will he even be racing in Australia now, or this Van der Garde situation? Yeah, I think he does have promise, but I don't think we're really gonna see it this season, unfortunately. There's a second chance as well for Marcus Ericsson, I guess. He was looking a little bit better towards the end of last season up against Kobayashi, but yeah, never really did anything too amazing with Caterham. Not that you really can do when you're in a team like that, but yeah, as I say, Sauber I think they're going to be 9th and they're going to have another tough season ahead of them. 8th, I think it's kind of sad that to predict this, but I think it's going to be Force India down in 8th place this season. And yeah, it's been a very bad start to the season from obviously in pre-season. It was only in the final test, I believe, that they actually had their 2015 car, and of course there was plenty of sort of, I don't know what a controversy or not, with the whole them rejecting Mano into coming into the season. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I probably shouldn't go into that. But yeah, they've just had a very rocky start to the season, and yeah, just lack of testing, and I just can't see it being that good of a season for them. Even though they do have the Mercedes power and 2 very good drivers in Hülkenberg and Perez, I think sadly they're just not going to have a car to showcase their talents this season. And yeah, I think well, obviously in the past couple of years as well, like they've actually got worse over the season, as like they started off strong in 2013 and 2014, but then dropped off as the season went on. I think in 2013 they were quite unlucky with the tyre changes, but certainly last season as well they just didn't seem to keep up with the development, and they already seem to be on the wrong foot this season. So I just can't see it being a good season for them, unfortunately, because they're another team that I kind of have a little soft spot for. I mean, I wouldn't say I support them, but I kind of like both the drivers in some ways. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough season for them, unfortunately. And yeah, I've put them 8th then in my predictions. 7th, I've gone with Toro Rosso, and yeah, a very young lineup for them then, with Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen. And I think they are going to maybe surprise a few people this season. I think we're certainly going to see the points record broken then. I'm sure Max Verstappen is going to pick up a fair few points along the way. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about them actually, Toro Rosso, but yeah, they're always just sort of there in the midfield, so it's kind of hard not to know what to say about them really. But yeah, Renault do seem to have fallen a little bit behind, I think, in the sort of the engines, but I don't think they've lost too much ground, and I think that it's going to be another sort of average season for them in the midfield. I think they will at times regret letting John-Eric Vergne go, because just his experience, and he does have a lot of talent, as we saw towards the end of last season when he was actually allowed to race the Red Bull cars. Of course, I remember that battle with Ricciardo he had, and we really did see his full potential, I think, there, and what he is made of. And I think Toro Rosso are going to miss that at times this season, that little bit of extra experience that obviously Sainz and Verstappen don't have. But nonetheless, I think that they've got 2 promising young drivers, and it should be an interesting season to see how these 2 youngsters can go, and yeah, how they develop in the future. But yeah, I've gone with Toro Rosso then for that 7th place in the Constructors. 6th place I'm going with the Lotus team, and yeah, I can see it's been a much better season for them than last season. I mean, I know that's kind of not saying much, because 2014 was pretty dismal for them, it has to be said. But I don't know, this season I can just see them sort of bouncing back a little bit. I don't think it's going to be back to like 2012 or 2013 pace. I'm not sure if they actually will get back to that, but yeah, I think they're sitting in for a much better season. Of course, they've got the Mercedes engine now, and that's going to help them big time. Of course, it's still very much the fastest engine out there, and they've had a decent pre-season as well, which is well, a lot more than can be said for their 2014 pre-season. And if we're going by that, I think they are going to have a much better season this time round. And yeah, maybe we'll see the potential that Grosjean and Maldonado have then. We didn't really see it last season. Of course, I've seen, of course, from Grosjean in the second half of 2013 that he does have a lot of pace when he's not making mistakes, and yeah, not being a first lap nutcase. And yeah, of course, we've seen from Maldonado as well on the odd occasion that he does have a lot of pace, and he did have that one very good race in his career that we can all talk about, the Spain 2012 race. And yeah, it's maybe if they keep a calm head, then I think some good results are going to come their way this season. And yeah, I think with some other teams around them struggling, like Force India, and Sauber, that I think it's going to be sort of open the door a little bit for Lotus to sort of claw back some of the deficit they lost to some teams last season. And I think I think I'm going to put them in 6th place for this season, and it is pretty close actually. It was pretty close, I should say, between some of the teams I was going to put in this. Certainly from 5th to 8th in this, I was thinking about like which ones I thought would be in which positions, but yeah, I'd say Lotus are going to be 6th this season then. And 5th place, and I've gone with McLaren for this one. I think maybe that'll surprise some people, I'm not sure. I know some people are expecting them lower, certainly to start off with anyway. I think I would have to agree with that one, to be honest. But I see McLaren, they're sort of in the position that everyone was in last season, except that everyone around them now has that year's advantage, and that's just going to hurt McLaren so badly in the first half of the season. They've had a terrible start to the season, has to be said, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not delighted at that, as harsh as it sounds, but I know I'm going to have to enjoy it while I can, because I know that sooner or later they are going to be right back up at the top. I think it is inevitable, really, that once they get to grips with their Honda engine, once they've got that a good bit of development and they've caught Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault, that they are going to be right back at the top. But for now, I think if they just get their cars to the end of the Australian Grand Prix, that is going to be an achievement for them. Even if they can keep them running to get a good enough position on the grid, I think that'll be something that they'll be delighted with, because from what we've heard, it is a car that does have potential to be quick, I guess. Of course, we haven't really seen a lot of it, but what we have seen seems to have been positive from their point of view anyway. Of course, it has been a pretty terrible pre-season for them, and it just got worse with the crash for Alonso then, that people are still trying to make conspiracy theories out of, and I literally do not buy into any of them at all, because at the end of the day, I think he just made a mistake. He crashed, and he was unlucky to get concussion, I think, but so was I a few months ago, so I'm not buying into conspiracy theories that are going around. But yeah, it has just been a dismal start to the season for them, and obviously they're not even going to have their main driver for the opening race of the season, and of course they're going to have one of them, of course, Jenson Button, and obviously Kevin Magnussen, who knows the team well. He should do pretty well in his place, but I mean, he's no Alonso, put it that way. But yeah, as the season goes on, I think that as they learn more about the Honda engine, as they get a chance to develop it more, I think that they are going to be in for a good second half of the season. And yeah, as I mentioned before, it does look like they do have a good car when it's running, so maybe once they get on top of all the reliability problems and have got that Honda engine worked out, I think they are going to be quite competitive actually. And yeah, that's why I've put them in 5th place then, because I think even if they do find themselves near the bottom of the standings early on, I think they are going to be able to claw it back. Of course, they've got 2 world champions, I mean, we can't forget that, so I mean, they're never going to be like right down the bottom, even if the car is absolute terrible. But I've gone with McLaren then for 5th, and I think they are going to recover to 5th. That is basically what I'm trying to say there. But yeah, that's 5th place. And now obviously after this it's pretty close between 4th and 2nd, as you'd imagine. I think we all know it's going to be 1st, but from 4th to 2nd, I think it is going to be really close this season. It is going to be a fascinating battle in the Constructors, I think, even if it's not right at the front. At number 4 then, I've actually gone with Red Bull. I think that this season they are just going to struggle that little bit more to be right up at the front like they have been for, well, the last 6 seasons. They've never been outside the top 2 in the last 6 seasons, which is crazy when you think about it. But in some ways it isn't, but in other ways it is. But I think they are going to struggle a little bit more this season. As I said before, it does seem that Renault haven't maybe made as much progress as, say, Ferrari have, and I think that they may struggle in that sense for maybe the early rounds of the season, and maybe a little bit later on as well if they can't catch up. But Yeah, as well as that, I think that obviously Red Bull have lost two of the main figures in what was their sort of dominant era. It does feel so weird to say that, but yeah, only like a few years ago, but like yeah, certainly that era from 2010 to 2013, obviously two of the big figures, Vettel and Newey. I mean, I know that people say, oh, but Ricciardo beat Vettel last season, but I still think that the loss of Sebastian Vettel is going to have quite an effect on Red Bull. I mean, even if like on recent form Ricciardo has seen the better driver, I still think Red Bull are going to miss that what Vettel brings to the team, and obviously they are going to of course miss what Adrian Newey brought to the team. He's designed some very good cars from, I'm not sure which year he came in, but obviously 2009 to 2014, like they were never outside the top two in the Constructors, so yeah, that's obviously going to be a big loss to them. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. I mean, we all saw last season the potential of Daniel Ricciardo, and I think once again this season we are going to still see some fantastic drives. In fact, I wouldn't bet against him finishing on the podium in the first race, if I'm honest, because obviously with the home advantage, I think after the disappointment of the disqualification last season, I think he's just going to be so pumped up and he's going to be so determined to get that podium and keep it this season that, yeah, I wouldn't bet against him finishing on the podium, certainly in Australia. But yeah, I think that we are once again going to see just how good Ricciardo is. I think he is going to once again pull out some great drives. Even if the Red Bull isn't as quick, I think he still has what it takes to get some really good results this season, so I wouldn't discount him out for a second. Not for the, well, obviously I don't think he's going to be in the fight for the Drivers' Championship, but I don't think anyone outside the top two is. But having said that, I think he could snatch a couple of wins once again like he did last season. As for Daniel Kvyat, well, it's hard to say yet, but who knows? Of course, I don't think many people would have thought that Ricciardo would come into the four-time world champions team and beat him first time of asking, and actually be part of the reason that he ended up leaving. But yeah, who knows? Maybe even Kvyat could do that, and it could be Ricciardo at the end of the season. But I don't think it's that likely this time around. Of course, we've had a season now with the drivers adapting to these cars, so yeah, I expect Kvyat will be behind Ricciardo still. I think he'll be getting some podiums, but I don't think that he's going to come in and like upset the balance like Ricciardo did with Vettel last season. And yeah, overall I think that Red Bull are going to be fourth then this season, which I think is a brave prediction, but I'm going to stick to it for now, and we'll see how things play out. Now in third place I've gone with Ferrari then. Some people may have been thinking I'd put them higher, obviously a bit of biasness, but I'm being, I don't want to say realistic, although I guess I am in a way. I don't think it's being pessimistic, but then again I don't think it's that optimistic either, considering some people do think they are going to be second this season. But I'll put them third then for this season, and well, I just don't think that they can get any worse than they did last season, touch wood. But yeah, 2014 was just dismal for them, not a single win. I don't think that's happened since 94 or 93 or something. So yeah, it was just awful if I'm honest. I mean I was born in 1995, so this is obviously the first time that I've watched a season where they failed to win a race, and yeah, it wasn't fun, I have to be honest. But yeah, they do look a lot better this time around. I mean, in pre-season they did show some potential. It looks like the just sort of the overall package seems to be a lot better. Of course, with Sebastian Vettel coming in, obviously it's bringing back a lot of memories of people who remember the Schumacher era, and a lot of people are predicting that the end result is going to be the same. I mean, I certainly hope that's going to be the case. I mean, obviously it took Schumacher 5 years the last time, and yeah, I mean, I'd be prepared to wait that long. I'm not going to lie, I would if it did bring Ferrari back to the top. But yeah, with that being said, I don't think that they're going to be quite there yet this season. I think maybe they will snatch a win or two. I mean, I know their goal for this season is 2 wins. I mean, I think they are being a little bit optimistic there, I have to be said, unless they know something that we don't, and that would be unusual because they usually well, let's just say that their previous few cars haven't been quite up to scratch. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that some of their cars have been as bad as people have said, but I don't want to get into a rant about that now. I mean, last season I think we can all agree was a pretty awful car, but I mean, apart from that, I think they've just been average over the past like 4 or 5 years, and yeah, I think maybe the 2015 car is going to be more along those lines, certainly a lot more than the 2014 car. I think this is going to be a step back in the right direction this season. It's not going to be I wouldn't call it a race winning car. I think it could potentially win a few races if things go, well, don't go Mercedes way, that is. But yeah, I think they're going to be in more of a position to capitalise if they if something does happen to the Mercedes cars this season. And yeah, it is going to be interesting. I think what with all the changes, there's a lot of pressure on everyone really. Of course, we've got Arriva Bene coming in, and of course, well, it's just been personnel changes everywhere, even down to the test drivers with Gutierrez coming in as well. I'm still a little bit baffled by that decision, but nonetheless, we've got him then. And obviously Kimi Raikkonen, absolutely, I'm not even going to lie, it was an awful season for him last season. I mean, I don't think you can really defend it, if I'm honest, but yeah, it really was just a terrible season for him last season. He's got a point to prove. I mean, he's not the kind of guy who's going to be feeling the pressure of it, of course, but yeah, maybe in the post-Alonso team that he'll maybe have a chance to flourish once again, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that. I'm not going to write him off yet. I know some people already think that Kimi's past it, but I mean, I don't know, one bad season for me doesn't I wouldn't immediately call his career a write-off after one bad season. I mean, of course, he is a world champion, we can't forget. And yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, a lot of people think it might be his last season. And yeah, I think it could well be. Certainly if Vettel is comfortably beating him. But I hope that what with Vettel and Kimi having a fairly good bond off the track, that they can work together and bring Ferrari back into a good position then and get them back in the right direction. And yeah, I've put them then in third for this season. I did go on a bit of a tangent in the end, which I didn't want to do, but well, it's happened anyway. And yeah, I'm just going to get there and say that they're going to be third then this season, I think. Not a bad season, but not a great one either. And yeah, second place then, obviously, I think, well, we've narrowed it down to two teams now, and I think we know that which one is going to be now, and that is Williams. And yeah, I think they're in for a really great season this time around. Well, I would say really great. I think they are going to grab a couple of wins this season, if I'm honest. And yeah, I think that well, 2014 didn't get off the best start for them in the first few races. I think they didn't maximise their potential in quite a lot of races, but as the season progressed, we just saw a lot more that they really did mean business. And if they'd had a bit more pace, then they really could have taken it to Mercedes at times. And well, of course, they ended the season with a double podium in Abu Dhabi, which is obviously was just set the team up with so much confidence for this season that I think that this time around they're going to be even more pumped to be the ones that stop Mercedes or are the best of the rest after Mercedes. And I think that obviously they have that engine, and yeah, I can just see them having a really good season. I think Valtteri Bottas is one of the next big things along with Ricciardo, and I mean, once Williams have a car that's good enough of challenging the Mercedes regularly, then I think we could start calling Bottas a possible contender for championships, but not this season, but certainly maybe 2016, 2017 if the Mercedes team's advantage is cut down a bit. But yeah, Felipe Massa, of course, we saw him sort of revitalise, I guess, in some ways last season. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a smooth season, certainly not as much as people were expecting after he left Ferrari. I mean, there were still a few controversies, or certainly, I wouldn't really call it controversy actually, with the whole Valtteri is faster than you thing in Malaysia, and obviously just a fair bit of bad luck along the way. It seemed very reminiscent of the Ferrari days, I think, if you ask me, but by the end of the season he had shown that he still had it, and yeah, I don't think that he has the out and out pace that Bottas does. and I think that Bottas is going to comfortably have the measure of him again this season. But nonetheless, I can still see it being a decent season for Felipe Massa. I'm not sure about race wins, but I think that he is going to be right up there once again. Hopefully he'll have much better luck this time, because he did have some pretty crap luck at times, it has to be said, if I'm honest. And yeah, I've gone with Williams then for second place in the standings overall then. And yeah, well, there's only one team left to talk about then, and of course that is the Mercedes team. And yeah, I don't know what you can really say about them that hasn't already been said. I mean, they've just had a brilliant pre-season once again, like they did in 2014. They look immensely quick once again. The car looks good, the engine looks good. I mean, it's just going to be down to whether we're going to see the fight between the two drivers once again. And honestly, I really hope we do. And I think that most people are predicting Lewis Hamilton is going to be the champion this season. I think I would have to agree with that, just because now that he has that championship under his belt, that is a massive mental advantage he has now over Nico Rosberg going into this season. Whoever won the championship last season would have had it, no doubt about it. Even if Rosberg had taken it last season, I think that he would have gone into the season as the favourite, just because of that mental advantage it has now. He's got one up over Nico Rosberg now, and I think that is going to be crucial, certainly in the early part of the season. And it's going to be up to Rosberg now as to whether he can sort of get over that mental pressure then, and actually fight back to Lewis Hamilton and say, yeah, you may have had 2014, but 2015 is mine. And honestly, at times last season it did look like it had gone the way of Nico, but just after that incident in Spa, which honestly could well have been the end of Lewis's championship there, it just seemed to all go wrong for Nico. And who knows, maybe incidents like that were going to be big factors in this season. I think that we could certainly see it again. I think it really is going to be a tense fight up the front once again. At this stage, I would say that Lewis Hamilton probably has the advantage. As I said before, that just the advantage of winning the championship last season has got to be a massive boost to him mentally. And yeah, it's going to be up to Nico Rosberg to stop him, I think, and we'll have to wait and see if he does have the if he is capable of yeah, overthrowing Lewis. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to really talk about this for this little preview thing. I hope it didn't go on too long. I mean, I've got on my recording thing here, it has gone on for quite a long time, but some of it's going to be edited out. But yeah, that's my prediction then for the top 10. It was Mercedes, Williams, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, Lotus, Toro Rosso, Force India, Sauber, Manor, so just to recap there. And yes, that's my prediction for the top 10 in the Constructors Championship. I didn't really feel like doing one for the Drivers Championship. I think it would have just been too difficult, really. I think there's so many factors that can play into a championship that it just would have been impossible to predict, like the finishing positions of 20 drivers, or I guess 21 or 22 possibly, with possibly Van der Garde and Magnussen in races this season. But yeah, as I say, it just would have been too difficult, I think, to predict a Drivers' Championship. If I did have to predict, say, the top 5, I would probably go with Hamilton, Rosberg. I think Bottas would probably be third, actually, if I'm honest. And I think Vettel and Ricciardo would probably be battling for 4th and 5th in that. I think that would just be my prediction there for the top 5 anyway. Further down, I think it'd just be too difficult to try and predict that kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy this preview. It's the first one that I've ever really done on my channel, and there's certainly something different for me to do there. I am planning to review the Australian Grand Prix after the race happens, and yeah, hopefully continue to do that for races to come this season, as well as in MotoGP as well. So I guess there will be a sort of preview like this coming for that once we get closer to the start of the season. But yeah, what's your predictions then for the season? If you do have any certain predictions, or agree, disagree with some of the things I've said in this, and feel free to leave them in the comments then. And yeah, if you did enjoy this, then leave a like, and yeah, I'll see you for the next video that I make. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.